Everyone's like, "What's fine?"
It's just the movie.
Batman's like, "No."
All right.
Destroyed my building.
So the first big topic for today, we're talking about our 80s and 90s toys that looked really cool in the commercial, but were really terrible when you actually got the toy. So I got one from Lan here that I'm going to bring up. Who remembers Rock Lords? By the way, if you're in the chat and you have an 80s or 90s toy, or even into the 2000s, it doesn't matter. Something that looked cool in the commercial that ended up just being disastrous when you got it.
Want to hear a funny
Can I
story?
talk about this for a second?
Absolutely. Lan, you get to go first.
Because one of my favorite toys of all time were Transformers. Okay, giant robots that transform into other shit. So even GoBots were really cool, even though they were like really crappy.
Yeah,
and they had the stupidest names ever. But still. And then they came out with Rock Lords, which was actually a spin-off of GoBots. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool because I like GoBots, I like Transformers. I went and picked one up, and you guys, it's a rock.
Yeah, it's interesting because Tom Hanks's character called that out in Big, if you remember.
The building.
Yeah, the building. He's like, well, what else does... He's like, yeah, when it's a building, it's just a building. The point of the Transformer was so that it's transforming into a robot, but then it's also a car or a gun or an airplane or something else that does something. These were just fucking rocks.
See, I had granite too. That guy right there.
So
it was a rock. I rolled it around. That's what I did. I
Yeah.
transformed it and I rolled it on the ground.
I have a
And I was
funny.
like, this is dumb.
The brown guy and the gold. When we were kids, some kid brought those to like our summer camp or afternoon school or whatever. We didn't play with them like that. We kept them as rocks, and we'd go around and pretend. We'd put it behind our back and squat and drop it and pretend like we were dropping dukes and see if we could get people to believe us.
Oh my God.
That's what our rock lords
That's
were.
a great analogy of that toy, though, because I mean, it's a piece of shit.
But because I remember the gold and the brown. I remember specifically we would just go and go, ha! And make the noise and drop
I took
it.
himself a golden brown shape.
Oh my God.
All right, so I found a bunch of answers over on Reddit, and I also got the pictures here to go along with it. Top answer on the board, or not necessarily top answer, but the first one we're going to get to, Crocodile Mile.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Somebody says, oh my God, for real, it would have been more fun to just throw yourself into a puddle.
They had problems.
I mean, it was
with They
basically
didn't
just
have
like an
problems.
advanced, like it was just a bigger, different version of a slip and slide, is really all it was,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but you had the bump
You did.
That
You
was-
did have the
Oh,
bump.
that's right.
that would
Yeah.
throw you into the pool. That's the only thing that sucked is that grass would get in it, and every now and then you'd get in there and a face full of grass would just be in your face.
I bet that was fun. Next one, and this is one I know that you guys got to be familiar with. Crossfire.
Yeah.
Honest to God, and now I'm really
Stupid
wishing
game.
I would have saved the top comment for this one because the person spelled out Crossfire like you literally read it in the way that it was said in the commercial. So he says, "Dude, Crossfire was pretty fun for 2 minutes." And then Beer Me Please says, "That's about how long it took for your finger to feel like it was about to fall off."
Yeah, or the gun broke.
Or the gun broke. I always kind of related this one to Hungry Hungry Hippos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the same company?
Probably. And this it looks like it's Milton Bradley
Bradley.
that made Crossfire.
Crossfire.
This was actually the top answer on Reddit that had the most upvotes. This next one. Moon Shoes.
Jesus.
Shoes.
I remember those being
Wow.
promoted on Nickelodeon.
I really like the comment because one person says, "No way, I wanted those so bad. What sucked about them?" To which the person replies, "They were still bound by Earth's gravity."
Yeah, one of our neighbors actually got those for like Christmas or birthday, and they broke in a week. They were pretty crappy.
Yeah, I can't imagine that those would have been. I mean, they almost look more like workout shoes, like those shoes that Kramer had.
Well, yeah, and what they don't tell you, it's like it's plastic, wrapped with a material, and so if you're using it on concrete and you keep bouncing up and down.
Oh, she's gonna
it would
shatter?
Break,
Yeah,
yeah.
it just break. That's what this kid did. He was just, and then it just happened to.
Sort of in the
They're pretty
same
savage.
vein as the moon shoes, I actually had one of these. The Pogo
Yeah.
Ball.
Oh, my
Ladies
God,
and gentlemen,
yes.
the Pogo Ball.
That plastic platform would break.
Yeah, one
So
person said the Pogo Ball, my ankle is still fucked up 32 years later.
Remember the different varieties of those they had? They had like the
Yeah.
sport edition,
Yep.
and they had like the leisure one. It was wild how they tried to monopolize and get money off the.
One other person here says, yeah, and when you finally did master using it, you quickly came to realize all you were doing was jumping. Oh, Nightmare says that she really wanted moon shoes when she was a kid, but her mom wouldn't let her have them because of how dangerous they looked. Yeah, apparently they were just going to shatter into 1,000 pieces as well.
You didn't miss anything. Yeah.
All right, next one here. Shout and Shoot. Remember this one?
Oh, man.
You guys
I
remember
do.
Shout and Shoot?
Yeah, I'm so glad
I
we
don't
never. I had
remember
a
that.
friend that bought that, and the thing broke like in like the first month.
So the way that because I watched a lot of the commercials for these as I was getting all of this stuff together, and the way that the commercial had it was you're in a water fight with your friends because you could take the direction that it shoots and you could have it shoot forward, up, or back. And there's one where the kid has it angled backwards.
Yep.
And his friend's like, I got you now. And he's like, oh no, fire, fire, fire. And it shoots water out the back.
Fire, fire,
Fire, fire, fire. And it's like,
Yeah, I
blasting
remember
it
that
in the
commercial.
back.
But the water pressure would give out after like a month, and it wouldn't even shoot that far to begin with, anyways.
This next
Pretty bad.
one is very close to my heart because I remember I had one of these with my sister. And it was actually all the way back in the 80s. And I think this toy's been around since at least the 70s. The Snoopy snow cone
Yeah.
machine.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had one of those.
This piece of shit. The person here says you'd crank that bitch for an hour and get a tiny pile of crushed up ice.
Yeah, then it'd melt before you could get the next ice in there. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Like, look at that. Look at the big chunks that it's showing coming out of that thing. Like, that's not what you were getting out of that.
Man, you were a 5-year-old getting an arm workout trying to.
Oh, and I remember my sister would always talk me into being the one that would fucking crank it. Jesus.
Kelly was smart.
Yes, she was. All right, final one here. And then, by the way, if you guys have any in the chat, you're more than welcome to go ahead and bring them up. Here we have the Super Soaker.
Yeah.
So you would
Remember
think that
that
this is
thing.
pretty cool, right? You would think that this was a good toy to have. Well, the answer on Reddit, I thought, was hilarious. As a child, I didn't understand the advantages of mobility in a running gun battle, and in the true American style, believed only in superior firepower. Thus began the paper delivery that would deliver into my hands the Super Soaker 200. I think it's the 2000, though. If it had 2 jugs on the gun and 2 on a backpack. Fully loaded, it was roughly 800 pounds. I stood immobilized, stricken with the weight of gallons as the other kids absolutely wrecked me. This was my Vietnam.
The last line. Yeah.
But it was only that one. The other Super Soakers were really cool.
Yeah, the standard
Yeah, no, that
Super
was
Soakers,
tough.
those were the
Yeah.
shit. But this one, it was like, how much water can we unload on one fucking kid, apparently? And
You know what was better than the Super Soakers, though? Was the, do you remember the Enertech water guns?
I think so.
That they had to ban because they looked...
Oh,
Like,
yeah, because
incredibly realistic?
yeah, I remember because they were actually motorized.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they had batteries because that makes perfect sense. Let's put electronics with water. But no, I do remember those.
Worked really well.
They did.
Okay.
I remember those were freaking amazing. I think I had one, and it obviously it just ended up breaking.
You guys remember the water guns that came with a certain scent that you could shoot at people? One was like garbage. One was pizza.
What?
You guys didn't have those?
No.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember those.
Like in the late
Garbage?
80s, early 90s. Yeah, this gun,
That's
this
messed up.
squirt gun company came up with this idea that you'd have a scent, you'd put it in with the water, and that water would smell. And it was like pizza, garbage, dirty socks, and I think one more.
Good
And
God.
I don't think it was out for long because parents were complaining about the garbage
Yeah.
smell, like getting into people's clothes. But I do
Disgusting.
remember those.